Hello my keto peeps, it's Samaya and welcome back to my channel, I Don't Sugarcoat. Today's recipe is one that I have been working on since I've been doing keto, and it is a recipe that I'm so excited to share with you guys. Today we're going to be making brownies, and I know you have probably seen a bunch of recipes about brownies, or you've probably already made a brownie recipe, but I'm telling you, this brownie recipe is definitely different and it really tastes like brownies. So let's get started. Okay, before we get started, I just want to say, just in case anybody is curious, no, I did not cut my hair. This is a wig. I would never cut my hair. I just like wearing, you know, whatever type of hairstyle that I want, that I don't want to do to my natural hair. So, you know, you might see me with several different hairstyles, and if it's anything short, you know already it's just a wig, because I just wouldn't cut my own hair. I don't dye it, any of that stuff, but that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to share that in case anyone was curious and thought maybe I had cut my hair off, but I didn't. So let's get into this recipe. Okay, so today we are making brownies, like I said, and these brownies are a little bit different from any other brownie recipe. It's because I am using an ingredient that might seem, you know, different or kind of strange, kind of weird, but trust me, it's gonna make these brownies absolutely amazing. So today I am using 8 ounces of Nasoya Silken Tofu, and I know there is some controversy out there about soybeans and stuff like that, but I did my research, guys. I always do my research, and most of the stuff that they're talking about when it comes to soybeans and things like that is unfermented stuff that is made with soybeans. So I'm gonna leave a link to a video. It's from a guy, his name is Dr. Berg, and I'm pretty certain if you're doing keto, you've probably already heard of him, but he's a guy that I really trust his information and stuff like that. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description of this video so you can watch him explain the difference between unfermented soy and fermented soy. And tofu is fermented soy, and this is not what they're talking about when they're speaking about the things that is wrong with soybeans and things like that. They're not talking about fermented soy. So I just wanted to point that out, that this is, you're not in danger with using tofu. So anyway, let's get back to this recipe. Okay, so what we want to do now is with 8 ounces of silken tofu, and you want to make sure it's silken, because you need it to be nice and soft, because that's how it's going to cream in your blender. So you want to make sure you get a silken kind. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our blender. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and let that cream until it gets all nice and creamy and silky and liquid-like. Okay, you guys, now you're gonna wanna let this get a good blend. So you wanna do it for maybe 1 to 2 minutes. So once that's done, we're gonna go ahead and pour this into a bowl. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Okay. And as you can see, it pours out all nice and creamy and silky. So go ahead and get it all scraped out of your blender. Okay, guys. All right, now to our tofu, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of arrowroot flour. And then we want to add a half a teaspoon of baking soda, not powder, baking soda. And then we're going to just give this a good mix. Now, if you still have some reservations about using tofu, I'm sure you could probably do this recipe with some eggs and a bit of nut milk or any non-dairy milk you like. But since we're using tofu in this recipe, I will not be adding those things. The tofu is going to take the place of any kind of milk and eggs needed, which also makes this recipe vegan. Okay, we're gonna set that to the side for a second, and we're gonna go ahead and add our flours together. So we have 1/4 of a cup here of Lupin flour. As you guys know, I love to use Lupin flour. I use it in a lot of recipes. And we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of coconut flour. And when I normally make these, I use cashew flour, just because I really love the taste of cashew flour in my baked goods, because it just really blends well and it just really takes on the flavors of everything. But you guys can use almond flour because it'll be less carbs. So I'm using today walnut flour, just because walnuts are like, when you make brownies and you add nuts to them, generally you add walnuts. So I'm using walnut flour today. One, I have not done it with this before, and I wanted to give it a try just to see how it would taste. But also, this is it has no carbs for this 1/4. At least I believe that's the case. Let me check. I just want to verify that for you guys, because I don't want to be giving you the wrong information here. Let's see. Sorry about this, guys, but I want to make sure this is accurate, what I'm telling you. Yes. So for this 1/4 of a cup that we're adding, there's no carbs for this. So that's why I want to use this today, mostly because I recently have been eating way too much sweets. And not that I've been going over my carbs or anything, but I just want to kind of cut back on my sweets and any extra carb intake. So in this recipe, I'm going to be using walnut flour instead of cashew flour. But you guys, you can use almond flour. If you have cashew flour and you want to use that, use that. Or if you happen to have walnut flour on hand, go ahead and give that a try. Okay, now let's just mix this up really good. Get that all nice and blended together. Just break up those clumps of the walnut flour. So now we're gonna go ahead and get our bowl of tofu back over here, and we're gonna go ahead and start adding our other ingredients. Okay, so let's start by adding, if you're using a sweetener, and I go over this with you guys all the time, just because I use a sweetener that is a 2-to-1 ratio to regular sugar sweetness, so I always tell you the difference. So if you're using a 1-to-1 ratio, you want to use 3/4 of a cup of your sweetener. If you're using a 2-to-1 ratio like I'm using, you're going to want to use 1/4 plus 1/8 of a cup of sweetener. Okay, and then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, we're going to go ahead and add in our flour, we're going to add in 1/4 of a cup of cocoa powder, or you can do cacao powder, whatever your preference is. I don't really like dark chocolate, so I tend to use cocoa powder. And then we want to add in 2 tablespoons of water. And now we're going to go ahead and mix all this until we have a nice brownie-like batter. And your stove should be preheating to 350. And just use your spatula to, like, you know, rub all the ingredients in together, because this dough is going to, this batter is going to get thick really fast. So I just like to smear it along the bottom of the bowl just to make sure all my flours are getting nice and incorporated. Okay, now that that's all done, guys, we're gonna go ahead and add this to our pan. So I've got an 8x8 pan here that is all nice and greased, you guys. And we're gonna go ahead and scrape our batter into this pan. And as I said, this is a really thick batter. So getting it in here, we're gonna have to do a little bit of work to get it all nice and evenly spread in the bottom of the pan. Now you're gonna wanna spread this so that it's nice and even on the bottom. And it's gonna be a little tricky just because the batter is so thick, but just keep working with it until you get a nice even layer. Okay, you guys, now that I've got it all nice and even on the bottom, as you can see, it's all nice and flat and even. I'm gonna go ahead and top it with some Lily's semi-sweet chocolate chips, and I'm gonna do 20 grams of this. And then we're gonna add some walnuts on top. Now, if you don't wanna add either one of these, you don't have to. If you just want to do the chocolate chips, do the chocolate chips. If you just want to do the walnuts, do the walnuts. It's your brownie. Add whatever you like to it. You can even add it to the batter if you prefer, if you want it mixed into it, but I just like to top mine. So I'm going to go ahead and get these added to the top. Okay, and this is 15 grams of walnuts. So if you're going to be adding nuts, like usually I would add pecans because those are my favorites, but I'm out. So I'm going to go ahead and add these walnuts. But whatever nut you want to add, you know, do about 15 grams of that. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and press these down into the batter so that they stay, because this batter is really thick. And so you just wanna get them pressed down lightly so that it's sitting in the batter. Okay, so now these are gonna go into my stove that's preheating at 350. And as I always tell you guys, my stove cooks faster than most. So mine are probably only gonna bake for around maybe, I think they cook for about 13 to 15 minutes, my brownies. But depending on your stove, these could cook up to 30 minutes. Probably not, but it could. So I would suggest at the 10-minute mark, like I did, I checked mine with a toothpick. They were still wet. The toothpick didn't come out clean, but a few minutes later, mine were already done. So I would suggest you checking yours at around 13-15 minutes and see what it looks like. And then just keep checking it every couple minutes thereafter until the toothpick comes out clean. And make sure you note the time so you know how long it took your brownies to cook. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these popped in the oven, and then when they're done, I'll come back and I'll show you what these babies look like. All right, see you guys then. All right, you guys, my brownies are out of the oven and mine's cooked for about 12 minutes. And the reason why I told you guys it could vary up to 30 minutes is depending on what flour combination you use. So if you're gonna go straight almond flour, it might take a little bit longer if you're using just all almond flour to get the 3/4 cup of flour that's needed for this recipe. What I find is that using the combination of the lupin, the coconut, and a nut flour, it decreases the cooking time than just using all almond flour. So you guys, you know, judge what you want to do for the recipe depending on your personal preference, your personal taste. And so like I said, just after 10 minutes, make sure you check it. Stick it with a toothpick in the middle, see what it looks like when it comes out. You'll also notice that they are ready once they start, you know, like showing cracks at the top. That is another indicator that they are done. So just make sure you're checking your brownies at the 10-minute mark and then check them. For me, it was 12 minutes. So your stove might take a little bit longer than mine. So I would still check at the 12-minute mark just to be on the safe side, but it might be somewhere between 15 minutes to 20 minutes if you're using the 3 combinations of flour that I am, or it could be longer if you're just using just a nut flour. So you guys, take a look at these. They look fantastic, you guys, and they smell amazing. I wish this was my eating window. I mean, I probably wouldn't try it because I already had, you know, something sweet earlier today, but I'm totally gonna have one of these tomorrow at my mealtime. You guys, they are so soft and so moist, and look at that texture, guys. Can you see that texture? Oh my God, the texture is amazing. So I hope you guys make these. I'm telling you, you're going to love them. You're not gonna know that tofu is even in these, I promise, I swear. And let me go ahead and give you the nutritional facts for this, even though I will leave that in the description of this video as well. So, oh, I can do that now, you guys, because I'm not using my phone to record these videos anymore. So now I'll be able to just pull up my app, which is where I store my recipes. So like I can just, you know, go on here and add my meal in, and it'll count up all my macros for me. So I don't have all my recipes written out like I should, but I just love putting them in my little app right here, and then it tells me everything I need to know. Also, I'm gonna be I'm actually in the works for putting together a website that you'll be able to go to so you can see the written version of my recipes and the instructions. It's just gonna take me a little time to, you know, get it designed and worked out, but that will be coming soon at some point. You know, I'll just start off with the recipes probably that I already have recorded for you guys and just continue to add recipes as we go. So let me go ahead and give you the macros for this. If you cut these into 9 like I've done, each one is gonna have 120 calories. It's gonna have, for total carbs, it's 15.8, but there is 2.5 net carbs because we're going to be subtracting, on here it says diabetes carbs. I have no idea what that is, but we're subtracting that, which is 6.8 grams, and we're subtracting our fiber, which is 4.8 grams, which leaves us with a net total of 2.5 for each brownie. And then they have 4.8 grams of protein and 7.5 grams of fat. You know, if you're looking to get more fat into this, and you know, I probably should have thought to do this before, but I'll just go ahead and tell you now. I have like some powdered MTC oil that I like to use from time to time when a recipe that I'm making doesn't quite have as much fat as I want. I haven't put it in this brownie recipe yet, but I put it in like my waffle recipes and stuff like that to just add a little bit more fat to it. And so you might want to think about doing that if you want to add a little bit more fat to this. I don't really think you'll need to change up how much liquid or moisture you need to add. I think you can get away with adding a scoop or two and it still being just fine. So if you want to look into getting some powdered MTC oil, you might want to try that because it'll add to the fat count of this brownie here. Okay, so I think that's gonna be all, guys. I don't think we have anything left to discuss. I totally wish I could try one of these for you guys on camera so you guys can see just how delicious these are. But you're gonna see for yourself when you make these, you guys. You're gonna totally love these. I promise you, this is gonna be your go-to brownie recipe. And let me know if you guys decide to try this with like using eggs and like a non-dairy milk. Let me know if you try it that way. I have not done it that way, mostly just because, you know, I've tried different recipes and that was always what I used as far as like liquid goes to, you know, do the batter. But thinking to just change it up a bit and do the tofu, it made the brownies come out so perfect, so great. But I want to know, if you don't use it, let me know how your brownies turn out if you decide to go with eggs and a non-dairy milk, and let me know how they turned out for you. So I think that's going to be it for today, guys. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and don't forget to click that little bell so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video. Until next time, you guys, bye.